All right, it is the evening weather briefing for Thursday, the 25th of September, and this is the evening edition. I am Josh Brown. I hope that you all had a great Thursday. And as we're closing out our day here, we do have some lingering showers that's still happening across parts of Central Florida. We'll have an update on the radar here pretty in about a second or so is what I should say. But of course, so we have more rain on the way as we head into the weekend. So we'll have more details on that when we look at the timing of both the HER and the NAM models in just a few moments or so, along with an update on the busy tropics. So let's go ahead and get to the radar and see where the showers are at this evening. And as you can see, it's mostly right along the Interstate 95 corridor from Volusia down towards mostly covering Brevard County, as you can see here as we go in for a closer view. And most of these showers are light, actually, and nothing heavy than it was from the earlier storms that we had this afternoon in parts of our inland locations. And it appears that these showers do extend, we'll say, from Oak Hill down towards around Titusville to Rockledge, Cape Canaveral, Merritt Island towards the Vieira, Century, and the Palm Bay areas. And if I go ahead and play the loop on, it seems that these showers are moving at a bit of a slow pace. We'll say from due west to east at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. Now, some of the rain was heavier at times within the last hour, as you can see on the latest loop here, but looks like they're starting to weaken some. And it appears that these showers should be moving offshore within the next, we'll say, about 15, 20, 25 minutes or so. So if you're in Brevard County, if you have plans this evening, just take the rain gear, but it's not going to rain all night long. So just do understand that. We also have a few showers over here down in Polk County, affecting areas like Winter Haven up towards 1792 near Haines City, Lucerne Park, Lynchburg, and the Holiday Manor communities. And we also have a few showers up here in parts of, we'll say around the lake into the Seminole County line, and that covers between from Mount Plymouth all the way up into the Benson Junction communities. Again, I'll play the loop here so you'll know where that's going. And it seems these showers are moving mostly from due south to north, and a little bit westward is what it looks like at about 30 to 35, if not around 40 miles per hour. And then we also have a couple of showers and some couple of thunderstorms too up here in the northern side of Marion County, and that's on top of communities like Reddick down towards 329 and near Interstate 75 from Lowell to Reddick and Martin. And we have a couple of showers, or just a shower rather, over in Camp Roosevelt, just south of downtown Ocala, right on top of Highway 475 over towards 27. And again, I'll play the loop one more time. And it seems that these quick showers are moving from a westerly to an easterly direction, is what it looks like. Yet at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. But most of the heaviest of the rain is actually up here in Hawthorne, Keystone Heights, which is up around basically between the I'm going to say this. I'm going to butcher this county here. Alachua to the Putnam County line is what it looks like. And it seems that these storms will may start to move into places like Interlachen to Palaca, and over towards, we'll say, near Grandin, Baywood, Caraway, Georges Lake, Barden, and Springside pretty soon if the storms do hold together. Because again, they're moving from a westerly to an easterly direction. And here's another view of the radar, and it seems that most of our inland locations, such as the metro area here in Orlando, down into Osceola, Seminole, most of Volusia, Flagler counties, and farther west you go, looks to be quiet out there as we close out our Thursday. So now let's go ahead and talk about the tropics. Yet it's looking pretty busy out there. Here we are on this Thursday evening, which has been that way over the last few days this week. As I switch over to from radar to satellite. Turn on the icons. And so far we have, Tropical Storm Humberto, and we also have this Vest 94 that is out in the Western Atlantic this evening. So let's go ahead and take a look at the latest on Humberto. And it looks like it's a tropical storm still this evening with winds continue to increase as high as 60 miles an hour. and it started to slow down just a bit here at about 6 miles an hour as it moves due to the northwest with about a 1,000 millibar pressure low. But very soon, though, this could become into a Category 1 hurricane, we'll say, by tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, as winds will start to pick up a little bit. And then it looks like it should be upgraded to a Cat 2, we'll say, by around Saturday at 2. And then finally into a major hurricane, which is a Cat 3, before it makes a right turn to the north and northwest, we'll say by around Sunday morning. And it looks like it'll stay that way through at least by Monday afternoon, and then downgraded to a Cat 2 by Tuesday, as you can see here. But it looks like with the latest model runs, it shows that the system Humberto, that is, will pretty much stay off from the east coast of the United States and make a right steer turn to the northeast is what it looks like. But we still need to watch this little guy right here that is bringing, a lot of gusty winds and some tropical downpours and storms along the Caribbean islands from San Juan over here towards the Virgin Islands. And the latest info from the Hurricane Center shows that there's still some signs of organization in association with a tropical wave located near Hispaniola and the Turks and Caicos Islands. And yet an area of low pressure is expected to form along the wave tonight or early tomorrow morning when it moves near the southeastern Bahamas. And this low is expected to become a tropical depression when it is in the vicinity of the central and northwest Bahamas between late Friday or over the weekend, and then track northwestward or northward over the southwestern Atlantic. So interest in the Dominican Republic, Haiti, the Turks and Caicos Islands, and the Bahamas should still closely monitor the progress of the system. Regardless of development, it seems that heavy rain and gusty winds are likely across that region during the next couple of days. While there is significant uncertainty in the long-range track and the intensity of the system, the chances for wind, rain, and storm surge impacts for a portion of the southeast United States coast are increasing. So interest in that area should still closely monitor the progress of it too. And it looks like the Hurricane Center has given about still a 90% chance of formation within the next 5 to 7 days, and this could likely become as the next named storm known as Imelda. And yet, some of the latest models are indicating that this system could bring some concerns over here towards the Carolinas region, regardless of development or not. So that's something we'll be watching here in the next coming days or so. And it looks like the timing could be between Monday and Tuesday, yet for both North and South Carolina, whenever the impacts do move in between those days. Now, one of the tropical models wants to show a little bit of a left turn to the northwest towards Jacksonville and near the Georgia coast here, regardless yet of this system. So there's still plenty of uncertainties to say at this point on where the track could be going next after it passes from the Virgin Islands, the Puerto Rico area, and also for the Bahamas region. So just keep checking back in with me here on Facebook Live and by me posting on social media for updates. But I think my thinking is that the worst of the system will stay away from the east coast of Florida heading into the next coming days. But rip currents and rough surfing could be a concern, though. So if you're thinking about heading to the beach, heading into the next few days, like this weekend or early next week, just be aware of that. But we can still see some increasing moisture coming in from the system that can bring yet just rounds of showers and thunderstorms related to it. So understand that too. But over here, farther more east you go, is what is known as the remnants of Gabrielle. Now, a post-tropical cyclone has winds started to decrease at around 70 miles an hour as it enters the northern Atlantic cooler waters, which helps prevent from anything developing. And, of course, keeping the system weakening, and is moving due yet east-northeast at a quick pace at about 30 miles an hour. And it looks like it will stay as a tropical cyclone, post-cyclone, that is, before making its way towards the coast of Europe, heading into the next coming days, as far as the latest track goes. Now, the other thing I want to say about the future of Imelda, that if the system does move pretty fast, this could yet be a concern here for the Carolina coastline. But if it moves slowly, this could possibly make a right turn to the northeast and probably interact with Humberto around that time. So that's another thing that I want to mention about too. But other than that, the rest of the tropics across the central and the southern part of the Atlantic looks to be quiet out there with no formations expected here in the next 5 to 7 days. All you see here down in the southern Atlantic are just some disorganized areas of showers and thunderstorms, but no lows forming for now. And for the Central Caribbean and for the Gulf, things are quiet out there too, with no formations also expected in the next several days. So there you have it. So let me go ahead and switch over back to the uh, the radar from the satellite. Again, another view of the radar one more time. And again, like I said before, we still have some showers out there this evening, especially again for Brevard County, but they should be moving offshore here pretty shortly. And we also have some heavier showers and thunderstorms yet still happening for northern Marion County up into near uh, again Hawthorne, and pretty soon moving into the Interlachen communities. So it looks like that could remain for a little bit longer, but yet winding down by midnight. But other than that, the rest of our market is looking quiet, especially if you live inland, and even the same for Flagler and Volusia. So there you have it there with the radar. So let's go ahead and switch over to temperatures this evening. And yet we're looking at numbers still looking pretty warm out there as we're starting to enter Thursday with pretty much in the way of upper 70s and into the lower 80s, with temperatures a little warmer up north where you have mid 80s for places like near Tallahassee, up into near Savannah and the Charleston areas. And then you got temperatures a little cooler up around Georgia and for parts of Alabama where they're seeing pretty much in the lower 70s, and that includes places like Atlanta to near Macon, and we'll say around close to the Alabama border, but just in the southeast part of the state. And then you got upper 70s and lower 80s too for Birmingham, and west you go towards the Jackson, Mississippi area. So let's go ahead and check out the latest HERM model as we head into the next 18 hours. And yet, if you're just coming on into this live broadcast, I don't mind if you could share this with your friends, families, followers, etc. And you know my motto, and that is sharing is caring. And before we also get to the rest of our update, I'm going to go ahead and share this feed to a few other Facebook group pages. So just give me a few more minutes, and we'll move on. All right, sorry about that again, everyone. Alrighty, so here's a look at the latest HER model as we head into the overnight and on into daybreak on Friday. And yet, as always, we'll see low temperatures beginning in the low to mid 70s across the area. And you got temperatures turn out to be a little bit cooler up north as the front moves in, as numbers will start or not jumping up, but down in the upper 60s and into the lower 70s. A little bit, so conditions may feel a little bit on the refreshing side, you can say, up in that part of the region. And then as we approach the noon hour, we do expect temperatures yet to heat things up in the average side, where you have mid to upper 80s. And as the front still tries to move a little more eastward, that's going to help, again, keep temperatures yet on the below average side, but slightly in the upper 70s and lower 80s for Interstate 10 and up north across both states of Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi. And if we could switch over to the NAM model, which does take you through the next couple of days. And yet we'll see another band of showers and thunderstorms heading into the afternoon and evening. Doesn't show a whole lot of much of the way of rain here for Central Florida, but there are still chances though. Looks like the highest coverage is going to stay well up to the north across the Panhandle side of the state, up into southern Georgia and for portions of South Carolina. This is mainly during the evening hours, actually, for your Friday. And if we do see some storms tomorrow, the chances may mostly be around 40 to 50%. Again, I know you don't see that, but there's still chances, though, so just keep that in mind. And then it looks like by 7 o'clock Saturday morning, it shows there might be just a few showers that may start off our weekend, but nothing widespread, though. So we're talking just some spottier activity here for the metro Orlando area and surrounding locations. And then by Saturday afternoon, we expect yet another band of showers and thunderstorms, but this time becoming a little bit more widespread, especially between late afternoon and evening. We'll say at about 50 to a 60% coverage. And it looks like any rain that's out there left should be winding down by 2 in the morning on Sunday. So basically, we're talking about 2 to 3 inches through the next few days for areas between Metro Orlando and north towards Marion County, perhaps as far as St. Johns County and those red colors. And the same goes right down here towards the deep southern part of the state, with others seeing other amounts about a half to an inch or so, like around Jacksonville, a little south you go towards Kissimmee, perhaps the Winter Haven areas. I mean, you name it. And then you got more of the same thing up here also for the Panhandle and up into portions of Georgia and South Carolina. So let's go ahead and talk temperatures heading into the next few days. And we'll fast forward into your Friday afternoon, and we'll see temperatures remaining average in the 80s and low 90s across the area. And with the front yet moving in towards the Mississippi Valley and for perhaps as far south as the Panhandle, that will keep temperatures yet feeling a bit more like fall, where you have numbers ranging from the 70s and into the lower, if not mid 80s. So it'll feel pretty good to get outside and enjoy these somewhat fall-like temperatures as Friday afternoon progresses. And then as we make our way into the late night hours to be Friday on into early Saturday morning, we'll see another warm start with low temperatures yet in the middle to upper 70s across both central and South Florida, with low temperatures yet behind the front beginning off for some spotty areas, possibly in the upper 50s and others in the low to mid 60s. And yet that covers the entire valley. And by Saturday afternoon, we'll see temperatures, remaining average as always in the upper 80s to low 90s. And yet you got another fall-like day up here north where it shows numbers hovering in the 70s and low 80s in the Mississippi Valley region, with temperatures in the mid 80s for highs up in the Panhandle as the front starts to make its way a little south. Probably maybe as far as Jacksonville, perhaps, and perhaps the same as far as Cedar Key up in the Big Bend part of the state. And then making our way into the late night hours of Saturday on into early Sunday, we could see low temperatures, beginning off in the low to mid 70s, and then possibly as cooler as the 50s and 60s for lows also that morning in the Mississippi Valley region. And let's go ahead and switch over to the GFS, which does take you through the next couple of weeks. So this is on daybreak Sunday, and it shows this time just in the low to mid 60s, but there could be some spotty areas where temperatures may begin in the upper 50s, and yet that covers the valley. And then you have low temperatures beginning in the mid 70s here for Central Florida around that time too. And yet, we'll see another band of showers and thunderstorms on Sunday with the much better coverage this time, focusing along the east side of the state from Interstate 95. We'll say between Jacksonville down south towards the Keys region, with the rain chance yet hovering at about 50%. And perhaps the rain chances could start to increase a little more up here for southeast Georgia and for the coastline of Charleston and South Carolina, where there could be about a 60% chance for that. And as you can see over here towards the near the Bahamas, that's what is known as the future of Amilda, and it seems we'll start to push up a little north towards that part of the region, especially around the northeast side of the Bahamas. That is, according to the latest GFS model run. And looking at high temperatures on Sunday, and yet turning out to be a little bit above average, where we could see another day of upper 80s and into the low, and perhaps for some of you in the mid 90s as that day arrives. And it looks like temperatures may start to warm things up slowly but surely in the valley, as it indicates anywhere from the middle to upper 80s to some spots like in southern Alabama that could hit as high as the lower 90s once Sunday approaches. All right, now this is on Monday of next week, September 29th, and it looks like the future of Amilda continues to track up to the north, moving on to the Bahamas region, and possibly moving in towards the coastline of both North and South Carolina, as the trend is indicating here. But like I said before, regardless of any development, there could still be some impacts such as gusty winds and heavy rains that could cause some flooding concerns up in that part of the region. Yet the Carolinas, that is, whether it's a tropical storm or a hurricane rating. Again, that's what the GFS is showing here. But for us locally here across central Florida, it shows yet another day of a few showers and thunderstorms, keeping the chances pretty much average, we'll say, at about 40%. We'll call it for now, as the chances starts to decrease. And it seems that the Mississippi Valley, like Mississippi, Alabama itself, and down towards the Panhandle, turns out to be drying out as we head into Monday too. Well, it'll be staying dry though, rather, not just for the weekend, but Monday itself. So that's what I meant to say. And yet, you got temperatures still hovering in the average side in the 80s to low 90s across the state, and it looks like that could be making a return too for Mississippi and Alabama after a refreshing, I guess you can call it Friday and Saturday. And once the system gets closer to yet parts of Georgia and the Carolina coastline, that will end up knocking down temperatures a bit in the 70s and into the lower 80s, as you can see here on the latest map. So at least it'll be nice to see at least a little bit of a cool down for as far as the temperatures go, as the impacts of what will be known as soon to be known as Amilda moves in, if the trend does appear to be correct. Again, still plenty of uncertainty, but something we'll be watching in the next coming days. We think the timeline for that could be between Monday and Tuesday. Alrighty, and this is Tuesday of next week, the last day of September, and it looks like the GFS wants to show the system moving in towards the inland locations of the Carolinas, bringing yet more heavy rain and some gusty winds as the system, of course, if it moves inland, weakens. So something, again, we'll be watching. But for right here in central Florida, it appears that the rain chances stays elevated at about 40 to a 50% coverage to close out September itself. And yet we'll still keep temperatures yet running the same thing, just average in the upper 80s to low 90s, not just for here in Florida, but also for the lower half of the Mississippi Valley region. And just want to look at the low temperatures here for the first half of the day, and it shows yet a little bit cooler up north, where it shows anywhere from the 60s and low 70s for the valley and for the northwest side of the state, while for us here in the metro and south, we'll see temperatures starting off a little warm in the middle to upper 70s. All right, and this is on Wednesday, the first day of October, and it shows yet another round of a few more showers and thunderstorms, but the chances yet stays minimal at about 30%. So just do keep that in mind. And yet we'll keep temperatures still running in a summer average pattern where you have 80s to low 90s, and for some of you could see numbers jump up slightly up into the mid 90s. That is for the northern side of Florida, such as St. Augustine, Jacksonville, New Smyrna Beach, and up towards Savannah. And it looks like temperatures up around Alabama and eastward could be turning out to be a little bit on the cool side as the remnants of soon to be known as Amilda moves in. and that could drop temperatures yet anywhere from the 60s and into the low, if not mid 70s, if that's true, with upper 80s and low 90s elsewhere, such as Mobile, Biloxi, Jackson, and in the New Orleans communities. And then this is a week from today, next Thursday, October 2nd. This shows that most of our state tends to be mostly dry. There might be a few showers and storms around, but the chances stay low at 30% or less, with the much better chance with remnants of the system, tropical system that is, tends to be moving a little south into most of Georgia and along the coastline of South Carolina. And with that, we're talking temperatures still looking to stay on the hot side, but nothing sweltering though. And we're talking basically in the 80s and into the low, if not for some of you, in the middle 90s as we head into next Thursday. And if this is right, it looks like there might be a new front moving in from the north to south. And if so, that could allow temperatures to start dropping anywhere from the 60s, or I'm sorry, from the 80s rather, down into the 60s and low 70s. So how about that? How about that if you're looking for some more fall-like weather? And if we could check the low temperatures for the morning of the second, it shows not much change there, as the front may still be up north. It appears that it shows 60s and low 70s yet up in the valley. And of course, not much change here for Central Florida ahead of that same front, as we could see yet another warm start with low temperatures in the low to mid 70s. So we'll see. And it looks like we'll see yet another band of showers and thunderstorms, but starting to increase a little bit, this time back to around 50%, as that system starts to move in from north to south. And it looks like there might be a little bit of a blob of energy over here towards the coast of South Carolina between Charleston or close to Myrtle Beach, if that's true. And that could bring rainfall totals in one day about 4 to 6 inches, which could lead to some flooding concerns. So we'll see again how that progresses. But again, since we're still about 1 week away, that can easily change as we get closer to that time frame. And yet, looking at temperatures for highs on the 3rd, it shows mostly staying yet in the average side, which is the upper 80s and into the lower 90s range. And then it looks like as the front still tries to move a little south, but close to the Interstate 10 corridor, it looks like we'll keep numbers running anywhere from the 60s and into the low, if not mid 70s for highs heading into that same day. But if we do check the lows that morning, it shows we could see some 50s and 60s for Interstate 10 and north towards the valley, while there could be some upper 60s and low 70s for lows as well for the northern part of our market, which includes Marion County to Flagler, Volusia, up around the Jacksonville areas, and there could be mid 60s for the Panhandle. So that could turn out to feel pretty good if you're looking for some refreshing fall-like temperatures. And then here is Saturday, October 4th, and it shows yet another day of a few scattered late-day showers and thunderstorms, as we'll keep the rain chances right now for about 50%. And as you can see, that blob of energy, probably with a new system over here towards the east coast, will start to pull away from the South Carolina coastline and pushing up from a easterly to a northern direction, if that's true. So we'll see again how that does turn out, but that can always easily change as we get closer to that time frame. It appears that the Mississippi Valley will turn out to be mostly dry, as as the front continues to make its way yet from north to south. And speaking of temperatures on the 4th, it shows mostly yet still average, and that is another round of upper 80s and into the lower 90s, covering both central and southern Florida. And you also have temperatures hovering in the 70s and into the lower 80s yet for I-10 and north across the Mississippi Valley region. And then here's the morning of the 4th, and it shows low temperatures beginning a bit cooler in the 50s and 60s in the valley. And then you have lows beginning this time in the upper 60s and into the lower 70s for most of our market, which covers Interstate 4 and north. Probably related to that same front, if that's true. Again, we'll see. And then this is Sunday, October 5th, and still more rain continues yet for Central Florida. And for now, we'll keep the chances yet elevated at about 50%, leaving yet the Panhandle side of the state and the Mississippi Valley region still mostly dry, as the dry air again continues to kick in from north to south. And then it still shows temperatures yet hovering in the average way, which is 80s to low 90s covering Orange County and south. And it looks like temperatures may start to warm things up a little bit as we'll start to return back in the upper 70s and into the lower 80s, it seems like, which is still will feel somewhat like fall, but not quite as cool, though, if you know what I mean. All right, now this is the land of voodoo country. This takes you into the day on Monday the 6th, and it shows still some more rain continuing yet for both Central and South Florida. And if that's right, we'll keep the chances for that at about 50 to a 60% coverage. And yet the Panhandle in the Mississippi Valley region still tends to stay fairly quiet as we head towards the first week of the new month, full week that is. And yet we'll keep temperatures still staying mostly average in the 80s and into the lower 90s. And yet the slow warm trend will continue to shift from south to north as temperatures will start to heat up a little bit in the mid to upper 80s as well. Again, if that's right. But since this is the land of voodoo country, this can well change by then. And yet the rain cannot quit anytime soon as we approach Tuesday, October 7th, and yet the chance stays more in an elevated way at about 50%. And it seems that yet the panhandle side of the state up in the Mississippi Valley tends to stay fairly quiet with no rain inside up there. And yet not much change to temperatures as it stays yet on the average pattern where you have some upper 80s and into the lower 90s. And yet the same way also for the Mississippi Valley region. And you also have temperatures hovering in the low to mid 80s for Atlanta and points on towards the east to go towards the western side of South Carolina. And then it looks like we'll see the rain starting to die down as we head into Wednesday, October 8th, as it shifts farther south into southern Brevard County down into the Keys region. We'll say at about 50 to a 60% coverage. So we'll see if that's the case. So if you've been wanting to know if we're going to see some dry weather after, we'll say, the first several days of October, then I think the 8th could be in luck for you. But who knows? And still no changes to numbers here as far as the temperatures go, as it shows another round of upper 80s to low 90s across the area. And that's the same case too for the Mississippi Valley. And you have a little bit of a cooling trend up around Georgia and South Carolina, as it shows temperatures hovering anywhere from the upper 70s and into the low, if not for some of you, in the mid 80s as the 8th arrives. All right, now this is Thursday, October 9th, and it shows the moisture beginning to increase a little bit again, which could bring yet some coastal showers and thunderstorm activity for the east coast of the state from St. Johns County down south towards the Keys region. The west side of the state up into the valley tends to stay fairly quiet for now, also heading into the 9th. And it looks like we may see temperatures start dropping a little bit, this time in the mid 80s, we'll say for now across the area. And you also have temperatures hovering in the upper 70s and low 80s for highs too for Georgia and for portions of South Carolina. And then it looks like numbers will stay pretty much the same here for parts of Alabama and Mississippi, where it shows anywhere from the 80s and into the lower 90s, so no change there as far as I'm seeing. All right, this is Friday, October 10th, and it looks like the East Coast wet weather activity continues again from Jacksonville down south towards the Keys, and we'll call for now just about a 50% coverage of seeing some of that wet weather activity. And yet, not much change to temperatures as it stays yet close to average in anywhere from the 80s and into the lower 90s. And you got temperatures hovering in the low to mid 80s for highs for Georgia and points on towards the east to go towards the Myrtle Beach community. And then last but not least, this is on Saturday, October 11th, and it shows still some more rain around, but the chances will start to decrease a bit at about 30% as the moisture starts to go down a little south. And yet, still no changes to the temperatures. Again, staying average in the 80s and into the lower 90s across the region. So hopefully by the time we get towards mid to late October, that's when we'll start to see more cold fronts come through, and hopefully by then we'll see some refreshing conditions. So just hang in there for a while as you can here, folks. So what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and sign out of Facebook Live on this Thursday evening. And I hope to have the next update right back here tomorrow night, yet at 8 o'clock. And as always, I'll continue to post more notes or updates on my blog and social media platforms 24/7. In the meantime, please continue to stay safe by taking care of yourselves and each other, and God bless.